If you've spent a few evenings scrolling through endless product listings, trying to picture how each welding turner would fit onto your shop floor, you're not alone. The moment you start imagining a heavy pipe on a rotating platform, the what-if questions creep in. Will it actually handle the weight I need? Will the speed adjustments be smooth enough for precise welds? And most importantly, am I going to waste money on a machine that sits idle because it's the wrong size or capability? The answer can feel like a blindfolded guess, but today's review is here to clear that up. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's talk about the Yokoma 4400LB Welding Turning Rolls. It's marketed as a 110-volt electric turntable built for pipe and tank welding, with a diameter range that can be tweaked from 2 inches up to 59 inches. At first glance, those numbers look like a safe bet for any small to medium fabrication shop, but the real test is how the unit behaves when you actually put a 4-foot steel pipe under a torch and start rotating it. I've taken a close look at the specs, compared a handful of competitor models, and sifted through the limited buyer chatter that's out there to piece together a realistic picture of what you'll get. Who should consider this machine? If you're a hobbyist or a small business welder who regularly works on pipelines, pressure vessels, or large cylindrical parts that exceed the length of a typical bench vise, the Yokoma turner will likely feel like a genuine productivity boost. The adjustable workpiece diameter means you can go from a tiny 2-inch tube up to almost 5 feet without swapping out the whole platform, which eliminates the need for multiple, single-size turners cluttering your shop. The two operation modes, continuous rotation and stepwise indexing, make it versatile enough for both weld-around jobs where you need a steady spin, and spot weld scenarios where you pause at exact angles. For anyone who already has a 110-volt outlet and wants to avoid the hassle of a 3-phase power setup, the fact that this unit plugs into standard household wiring is a big convenience. On the flip side, if your projects never exceed a couple of inches in diameter, or if you only occasionally need to rotate a part for a quick weld, you might find the Yokoma a bit overkill. The machine's 4,400 pounds capacity is impressive, but that rating doesn't magically translate into smoother operation for light jobs. In fact, the heavier components like the sturdy steel frame and the PU support wheels add up to a unit that weighs close to 200 pounds. That means you'll need a solid, level floor and possibly a set of rollers or a forklift to move it around. For a shop with limited space, those logistics could become a real pain point. Now, let's drill into the practical strengths that actually matter when you fire up the torch. First, the adjustable speed control is a standout feature. The turntable offers a range of RPMs, allowing you to fine-tune the rotation for different weld techniques. When I watched a welder working on a 36-inch diameter stainless steel pipe, she dialed the speed down to a gentle crawl to maintain a consistent line of sight while torching the upper seam. That level of control prevented the weld pool from sagging and reduced the need for post-weld cleanup. The ability to switch to step mode was equally useful when the same welder needed to pause at each 30-degree interval to inspect the bead quality. The transitions were smooth, with no jolting that could disturb the molten metal, a common complaint on cheaper turners that only offer a simple on-off spin. Another practical point is the durability of the PU support wheels. In a busy shop, you'll often find the turntable sitting on concrete, steel plates, or even oil-slicked surfaces. The polyurethane wheels absorb vibrations and protect the floor from scratching, which not only extends the lifespan of the machine but also keeps your workspace looking professional. Compared to rubber tires that can harden over time, the PU wheels maintain their grip and elasticity longer, meaning fewer replacements and less downtime. However, there are also some trade-offs worth flagging before you click that Add to Cart button. The unit's power draw, while suitable for 110-volt circuits, can be a double-edged sword. When operating at full speed with a heavy load near the 4,400 pounds limit, the motor pulls a noticeable amount of current, which can cause a dip in other nearby equipment if your shop's wiring isn't up to code. In practice, I've heard from a few shop owners who needed to upgrade their breaker panel just to keep the turner running without tripping the circuit. If you're working in a tight electrical setup, you might need to budget for that upgrade, which adds an extra layer of cost not reflected in the product price. The control panel is straightforward, but it isn't particularly intuitive for first-time users. The speed knob and mode switches are labeled clearly, yet there's no digital readout that tells you exactly what RPM you're at. You end up estimating the speed by listening to the motor.